What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bios3 Raw TV. I got a message not too long ago, a few minutes ago actually, while I was eating ba loop lok, which is Vietnamese for shaky beef, which is a beef dish that is Vietnamese cuisine, which I love, over a restaurant in Virginia called Present. It's very authentic Vietnamese cuisine, owned by a guy that I used to work for, a friend named Gene. So if you guys are in Virginia, check out Present if you like Vietnamese cuisine. The shaky beef is awesome. So while I was eating, I got this message that said, you know, basically, well, Jerry, you're very old school, and you know about these things. So I'm trying to get my arms to grow, so now I'm training them 3 times a week. Is that optimal? Will I get them to grow? Should I do more? Should I do less? And then they went on to say, you know, like, this is a question about old school, etc. Now, I'm not sure what the question has to do with old school at all, but if you're training your arms once a week and they're not growing, what makes you think that if you train them 3 times a week, they're going to grow better? This is the confusion that I have. So people think that if you train a body part more often, it's going to grow quicker. Now, could that be true? Yes. But is that always the case? No. And why is that not always the case? Well, if you're doing 6 to 10 sets on Monday, the same thing on Wednesday, the same thing on Friday, you're probably, most likely, going to, let's see, make sure I don't miss this turn off. You're probably going to overtrain them. It's too much. But if you're doing, let's say, 1 set of biceps every day, then you're not going to be overtraining them. See, so now comes the question, well, how does this work? Well, it takes very little stimulus to stimulate muscle growth. Okay, so those guys that are in the gym pounding away for hours and hours at a time, who are spinning the wheels all the time, who eventually wind up hiring me anyways because it's not working, and I cut their volume into about 1/3 and make them train harder, they realize, oh my God, this is working a lot better. How does this work? Okay. If you're training them 3 times a week with the right volume, they may grow better, but they may not grow any better at all. It really has nothing to do with how often you train them, or, you know, how many sets you do. It has to do with whether you can stimulate the muscle and then let it recover to grow. Now, if it's not recovering, it's not going to grow. So if it's not growing off that 1 time a week, then I guarantee you, if you go to 3 times a week, what you're doing is training yourself into an even farther deficit muscle gain-wise, and it's definitely not going to work for 3 times a week. So now you're going to need to step back and look at your overall volume of the whole workouts and the intensity and the effort put in the gym. That is a big part of it. Now, effort can't be measured, okay? So there's no way to explain how much effort to put into training. But people tend to forget, and I was just talking about this to a client the other day. He said, you know, in our program we have, you know, arms here, but we train triceps over here, but then on this day we have shoulder presses, which also trains triceps. Is that okay? Is that going to overtrain the triceps? And I thought it was a good question because, you know, he obviously is going through this thing very detailed and trying to figure out, you know, how or why it works for himself, which is great. And I explained to him, no, it's not going to overtrain him, but because of the volume we do per set, per body part, per workout, it is set specifically to get you to recover. Now, if we did 20 sets for bench press, and the next day we did 20 sets for triceps, and the next day we did 20 sets for shoulders doing presses, no, your triceps are not going to recover. Your shoulders are not going to recover. Your chest is not going to recover because you are hitting those body parts while you're training other body parts. There's no way around it. If you do an exercise, multiple body parts are involved in it, no matter how you slice it. Even if you're trying to isolate, multiple body parts are involved in it that are getting trained. Now, they're not necessarily being trained to failure. So if you're doing shoulder presses, your chest is not getting trained to failure, but your upper chest is still getting work. Your triceps is still getting work. So everything kind of has its way to fit in together, and that's a big part of why programs don't work. Nothing is set to fit. There's no reason why they put these programs together. Like, oh, I want to do triceps, and they want to get them bigger, so I'm going to do 50 sets on Tuesday for triceps. My chest is okay, so I'm going to do 10 sets on chest on Wednesday. And you know my shoulders are pretty good, so I'm going to do 15 sets, but technically when you boil that down, that's like 50 sets for triceps for the week. You know what I mean? People just don't figure that out. And that's kind of an advanced way of thinking. Or unless you've been, you know, really trying to study into how the muscle grows. It has to recover to grow. It needs a stimulus, which is not as hard as people think it is, but effort-wise, it's hard, okay? So it's not a duration thing, it's an effort thing. And as long as you can get those type 2 fibers to fire and fail, your body will have to adapt by getting stronger and bigger. But it won't do that unless you recover. So volume and intensity and frequency of workouts are really important to have those things in the right combinations. Now, what's the right combination? Well, it's different for everybody, and also includes, also depends on what your diet is. Your diet has to be set for those things to work together with those things. If you're just doing random diets, I'm going to do this diet today, and I'm going to calculate my macros and do this. Well, did you calculate that specifically for your workout and your cardio and the lifestyle you lead? Did you think that in depth on it? Because a lot of people just grab, oh, this workout so-and-so's doing, and they said it's awesome, I'm going to do this workout. And you know what? I heard that, if I have high carbs and I have moderate protein and low fats, I'm going to get really lean. Well, you're not active during the day. You sit at a fucking desk job. You get fat. That's what happens. But the person who told you that is very active. They're a coach for a football team someplace. They're on their feet fucking all day long or whatever. And then, you start combining these things that don't really fit together and nothing happens, or you go backwards, or you basically just get frustrated and can't figure it out, and you figure, well, I suck, my body sucks, I hate this. Some people quit, some people go on to figure out what it was. And that's what I did. When things didn't work for me, I had to go on to figure out, why don't they work? None of the stuff was goal specific I was doing. When I went back to piecing things together goal specific, I got results again. So there were periods through the whole last 24 years where I got no results, where I spun my wheels, where I couldn't figure out what the fuck was going on, but I figured it out. And that's what I encourage each and every one of you to do, is to listen to the things I'm saying, listen to the things that other people are saying, and figure out for you and your own goals what are the right things for you to get results. Once you have those things down, you only have 3 things to manipulate: training, diet, and cardio. Those are not 3 things. Let's face facts. There's a lot of things in the universe that can fuck a lot of things up, but all you're having to deal with is 3 things right now. So it's not that hard to figure out, but it takes patience, it takes logic, and it takes the fact that you cannot have it handed to you by someone. You have to figure it out for yourself. Unless you're hiring a coach or somebody who's going to do the figuring out for you, in which case that coach is going to teach you how to do it, so you're going to figure it out together. So you're still going to be included in it. So that's my take today on frequency and body parts and training in general. Bios3training@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight, especially while I'm driving on the highway. www.bios3training.com is the blog, and we're driving through Virginia Bicep, and we're out.
Make plans to be at the 2014 Blue Ridge Fitness Festival, April 26, 2014. Mark the Machine Lowbliner brings the ANBF Natural Bodybuilding Show to Roanoke, Virginia. Extreme Living brings Jerry Ward of Bios3 Training. More information can be found at extremeliving.biz. We'll see you there.